The silent awakening. The colony was burning. Flames rose high into the dark sky, painting it with red and black smoke. The streets were filled with broken buildings, shattered glass, and the cries of survivors hiding in the shadows. What was once a peaceful human settlement was now nothing more than ruins. Alien warships had arrived without warning, raining fire and death on everyone who could not escape. Children cried in silence, clinging to their mothers inside underground shelters. Men who had no weapons clenched their fists in anger, unable to do anything but watch. The people had believed that the Galactic Council would protect them, that peace would last forever. But peace had been broken with a single attack. The aliens were cruel. They moved across the colony like hunters, making sure no human ship survived, making sure no voice of resistance was heard. They thought the humans were weak, just another species to be crushed under their rule. They laughed as they destroyed homes, as they silenced human colonies one by one. But deep beneath the colony's surface, something ancient had been waiting, something that no alien commander had ever read in their history logs, something even many humans had forgotten. In the ruins of the mountains near the colony's edge, there was a sealed chamber, an underground vault built centuries ago. To the aliens it looked like nothing more than a pile of old rock, but inside it carried a pulse, a slow, heavy heartbeat. The survivors hiding close to those mountains felt it first. At first it was only a faint vibration in the ground, like a distant drum. Then the earth shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from the ceilings of the caves where people hid. A little girl asked her mother in a trembling voice, "Mama, what is that sound?" The mother pulled her daughter close, not knowing how to answer. But deep inside she felt something stir, something older than memory, something she had only heard in whispers and half-forgotten legends. Outside, alien scouts noticed it too. Their scanners picked up a strange energy beneath the ground. The commander of the alien troops laughed. "Another human weapon? Let it come. We will crush it like the rest." But it was no human weapon. The ground cracked open near the mountain ridge. Smoke and fire burst upward as the rocks split apart. The sound was not of machines, not of ships, but of life. A roar echoed across the burning sky, deep, thunderous, powerful. It was a sound that made every survivor lift their head, and every alien soldier freeze in fear. From the broken mountain, a massive claw emerged, covered in scales that glowed faintly like molten steel, wings unfolded wider than the colony streets, blocking out the burning sky. Two golden eyes opened, shining like suns in the darkness. The first dragon had awakened. Its roar shook the colony, and the flames themselves seemed to bow before its voice. Survivors cried out in shock, some in terror, but many in hope. They remembered the stories now, the stories told by their ancestors, the myths of living guardians who once protected humanity in the days of endless war. Aliens stepped back, their weapons trembling in their hands. "Impossible," one of them whispered. "These creatures are not real. They are legends," but legends had just become reality. The dragon spread its wings and leapt into the air, each beat sending waves of dust and fire through the streets. It circled once above the ruins, and then its glowing eyes fixed on the alien flagship that hovered above the colony. The humans hiding underground felt their hearts beating with the dragon's roar. For the first time since the attack began, hope returned to their eyes. They whispered to one another in disbelief. "They are back." "The Guardians?" "The dragons." The alien commander shouted orders, demanding that his ships fire. Bright beams of energy shot upward, cutting through the smoke, but the dragon was faster. It twisted through the air like fire itself, the glow of its scales turning brighter. The sky was no longer only filled with the burning of human homes. Now it carried something else, something alive, something fierce, something unstoppable. The humans could feel it in their bones. The dragons were not just weapons. They were living promises, created long ago to rise only when humanity was pushed to the edge of survival. And now, after centuries of silence, their oath had awakened again. The aliens had wanted fear. Instead, They had awakened fury. The first dragon gave one more roar, its fire lighting up the night sky. The alien commander who once laughed, now stared, in horror, his voice shaking as he whispered words he never thought he would say. We should not have touched the human colonies. And in that moment every survivor knew the war had only just begun. The first roar, the alien flagship hung above the burning colony like a black predator in the sky. Its metal surface reflected the fires below, its cannons still glowing from the attack. The alien commander stood tall on the bridge, surrounded by his officers, eyes locked on the giant shape rising from the mountain. Target the creature, he ordered coldly. No myth will stand in our way. Dozens of alien ships turned their weapons. Red beams of energy cut across the smoke, striking the dragon's wings, chest, and tail. Explosions filled the sky. For a moment, survivors hiding below thought the beast might fall, but instead the dragon roared. The sound was not just noise. It was a force, like a storm breaking apart the heavens. Windows shattered across the colony. Alien soldiers fell to their knees, clutching their ears. Even their advanced ships trembled under the echo of that roar. The dragon rose higher, wings spread wide, flames dancing along its scales. Its body glowed like a living star, each beat of its wings sending shockwaves through the air. The humans hiding underground lifted their heads and felt something they had not felt in years. Power. Not the cold power of machines, but the raw power of life, of nature's fury awakened for them. The alien commander gritted his teeth. Keep firing. It cannot survive endless strikes. But the dragon did not fall. It dived. The massive creature cut through the storm of lasers, twisting and rolling with speed that no alien pilot could understand. Its claws tore through one ship, splitting it in half like paper. Fire burst out as metal pieces fell to the ground. Then came the flame. The dragon opened its jaws and a torrent of fire burst forth. Not ordinary fire, but plasma, hotter than the alien ship's engines. The flame struck two cruisers, melting their armor in seconds. Screams filled the alien comms before both ships exploded in the sky. On the ground, survivors gasped. A boy whispered, "It's protecting us," while his father, eyes wide, only nodded, too stunned to speak. The aliens, panicked. "Impossible, these creatures should not exist," one officer cried. "They do," the commander snapped, but fear had already spread through the ranks. Above the chaos, the dragon circled once more. Its golden eyes glowed brighter, as if searching, remembering. And then something happened no one expected. The dragon landed, not on ruins, not on a battlefield, but in front of a group of terrified human survivors near the mountain's edge. Its claws touched the ground, shaking the earth, but it did not harm them. The survivors froze, breathless, waiting for death. Instead, the dragon lowered its massive head. Its eyes met theirs. The humans felt warmth instead of fear. The girl who had asked her mother about the sound stepped forward. Her tiny hand reached out, trembling, and touched the dragon's glowing scale. The beast did not move. Instead, it released a low rumble, almost like a purr, as if recognizing them. The mother gasped, "It knows us." Memories stirred in the oldest survivors. Old stories, half-believed legends about humanity's bond with the dragons. How centuries ago humans and dragons had fought side by side against galactic invaders, until peace had made their alliance unnecessary. The dragons were put to rest, hidden away in mountains, waiting for the day they were needed again. That day had come. The dragon lifted its head again and roared toward the alien fleet. But this time the roar carried something different. It was not only fury, it was a call. The earth shook again. From deeper inside the mountains, more cracks appeared. Flames burst upward, shaking the skies. Another roar answered, then another. The aliens froze as their scanners lit up. Multiple signatures detected. Too many. Far too many. The commander's eyes widened. No, there cannot be more. But there were. From the mountains, a second dragon rose. This one silver, its wings like mirrors catching the firelight. Then a third, black as midnight, with red eyes burning like embers. One after another, the dragons emerged, stretching their wings, releasing roars that shook the stars. The humans cried out in awe and hope. For the first time since the attack, their voices were not filled with fear but with courage. Some fell to their knees in gratitude, others shouted with joy. The alien commander slammed his fists on the console. Retreat is not an option. Crush them before they gather. Alien ships swarmed, firing everything they had. But the sky was no longer theirs. The dragons dived, breathing storms of fire, tearing through steel and energy shields. The black dragon cut through 3 ships in a single sweep of its tail. The silver one roared, releasing a shockwave that shattered a cruiser's weapons. The first dragon, the golden one, rose high above the battlefield. Its eyes glowed brighter than ever. Then, with wings blazing like suns, it descended straight toward the alien flagship. The commander's voice trembled for the first time. No, stay back. The dragon's claws tore across the flagship's hull. Alarm screamed as explosions ripped through its decks. Flames consumed the sky, and the humans below screamed in awe and triumph. The first dragon roared again, louder than before, announcing what the galaxy had forgotten. The guardians of humanity had returned. The aliens thought they had destroyed a weak colony. Instead, they had awakened legends. And this was only the beginning. Humans and dragons united. The night sky was no longer silent. It shook with the roars of dragons and the screams of alien ships tearing apart. What began as destruction had turned into a battlefield of legends. The survivors, still hiding in shattered shelters, could not believe their eyes. Dragons, creatures of myth, were not only real, but fighting for them. The first golden dragon landed again on the ground, near the group of survivors. Its massive body glowed with heat, and the earth trembled under its weight. People stepped back terrified, but the dragon lowered its head gently as if asking them not to fear. From the crowd stepped a young officer, his uniform burned and torn from the attack. His name was Captain Elias Kane. He had lost most of his soldiers in the first strike, yet his eyes still carried fire. He stared into the dragon's glowing gaze, and something ancient stirred inside him. The dragon leaned closer. A strange hum filled the air, almost like words. Though no mouth spoke them, Elias gasped. The sound was not in his ears. It was in his mind. You are the children of fire, the dragon's voice whispered within him. We know your blood. We remember our oath. Elias fell to his knees, overwhelmed. You can speak? We. Dragon's eyes narrowed and the voice thundered inside his thoughts again. We do not speak. We share. We are bound to you, as it was written. The survivors murmured in shock. They did not understand what was happening, but they saw Elias trembling, tears in his eyes. The golden dragon stretched its wings and roared, not at the aliens, but at the humans themselves, as if reminding them of who they were. More dragons landed nearby, their massive forms rising from smoke and fire, silver, black, crimson. They formed a circle around the humans, protecting them. The black dragon lowered its head and let a man climb onto its back. The man was old, his hair gray, his body frail, but his eyes burned with courage. He laughed, with joy, almost like a child. I dreamed of this day, he shouted, the day humanity and dragons would rise together again. And then it began. Hidden deep in the mountains were old vaults, human technology that had not been touched in centuries. Doors opened by the dragon's roar, revealing strange devices. Glowing saddles, armor made of scale-like metal, weapons forged not for ships but for dragon riders. The ancestors of humanity had left them behind, waiting for this exact moment. The survivors touched the equipment with trembling hands. It recognized them, glowing with blue light as if it had been waiting all along. Elias gripped one of the saddles, his heart racing. He looked up at the golden dragon. The beast lowered itself, bowing its massive head. Elias understood. Slowly, step by step, he climbed onto its back. The dragon's scales were warm beneath him, alive with power. As soon as he sat, the saddle locked into place, fusing man and beast together. A surge of energy filled his veins. He gasped, feeling stronger, faster, clearer. The dragon's voice entered his mind again. Together. The sky shook as Elias and the golden dragon rose into the air. The survivors cheered, their voices cutting through fear for the first time. Some wept, others raised their fists. Humanity was not broken. Humanity was awakening. In orbit, the alien fleet tried to reorganize. Reinforcements had already arrived, dozens more ships, engines burning as they prepared to crush the colony, once and for all. The alien commander gritted his teeth. No more games. Bring everything. Erase this planet. But when his fleet descended, they did not find helpless humans. They found riders. Dragons with humans on their backs soared into the sky, glowing with ancient fire. Elias led the charge, his voice echoing through the comms. For the fallen, for humanity. The dragons dived together, weaving through laser fire, their riders aiming plasma lances and energy bows that hummed with power. Every shot struck true, piercing through alien armor. The silver dragon released a burst of light that blinded enemy pilots. The black one's tail tore apart a cruiser in one strike. Elias and the golden dragon cut straight into the heart of the fleet. Alien ships fired everything they had, but the dragon twisted, roared, and unleashed fire hotter than any reactor core. Ships exploded around them, turning the night into day. The humans watching from below shouted with joy. For the first time in generations, they saw not only survival but victory. The alien commander's voice cracked with disbelief. How? How can beasts and primitives destroy us? But deep inside, he knew the answer. These were not just beasts. These were the living legends of humanity, the guardians who were never meant to be defeated. And now, united with humans once again, they were unstoppable. The battle raged on. Fire and steel clashed in the skies. Dragons roared as humans fought. Beside them, the bond between them grew stronger with every moment, as if centuries of silence had never existed. On the ground, the little girl who had touched the dragon's scale whispered, her eyes full of hope. They're not just fighting for us. They're fighting with us. Above, Elias raised his weapon high as the golden dragon roared, wings blazing like suns. Together, man and dragon dived into the heart of the enemy fleet, a living storm that the galaxy would never forget. This was no longer just a fight for survival. This was the rebirth of an alliance, the rebirth of legends. The alien desperation, the alien fleet had thought the battle would be short. They believed the colony was already ashes, but now their sky was filled with fire, wings, and roars that shattered their confidence. The alien commander's voice thundered across the comms. Summon every reinforcement. I want this planet erased. Erase the humans, erase the beasts, erase everything. Dozens of ships turned into hundreds. War frigates, heavy destroyers, and carriers descended from orbit. Their engines lit the stars, like a second sun. For a moment, even the dragons slowed their flight, their golden eyes watching the endless storm of steel descend. Elias, riding the golden dragon, tightened his grip on the saddle. His mind buzzed with the dragon's thoughts, a deep ancient voice inside him. They are many, but numbers mean nothing against fire and will. Below, survivors in the colony's shelters looked up, fear returning to their eyes. They had seen hope awaken, but now the alien armada looked endless. The little girl clutched her mother's hand. Can the dragons fight them all? The mother whispered back, though her voice shook. They must, because we have no one else. The alien struck first. A wall of red beams, plasma missiles, and burning projectiles rained down from orbit. The sky turned into fire. Entire mountains shook as the ground split under the bombardment. But then the dragons roared together, wings spread. They formed a living shield. The golden dragon unleashed a dome of flame, absorbing blasts before they reached the survivors. The silver dragon released a blinding flash, bending beams of energy away. The black dragon slammed its tail into the ground, sending shockwaves upward, disrupting missiles mid-flight. Elias shouted through the comms, his voice shaking but steady. "They cannot break us. Hold the line." The humans, armed with old Dragon Rider, weapons fired from the ground, their shots guided by Dragon's flames. For the first time, alien war machines met resistance they could not predict. Still, the alien commander pushed harder. "Deploy the Leviathan!" A shadow larger than any other ship moved in orbit. Slowly, like a monster waking from deep sleep, the alien super dreadnought appeared. Its hull was kilometers long, bristling with cannons. It was not just a ship, it was a fortress in the stars. Even the dragons paused. Their eyes narrowed. The golden dragon's voice echoed in Elias's mind. "That one is death-given steel." The Leviathan fired once. A beam of pure destruction sliced through the sky, grazing the black dragon's wing. The beast roared in pain, spiraling downward, crashing into the mountains with a thunderous quake. The survivors screamed. Hope trembled again. Elias gritted, his teeth feeling the golden dragon's fury rise within him. The bond between them burned hotter. His voice cracked as he shouted, "We do not break, not now, not ever," the dragons answered. From the mountain cracks more shapes emerged. Dragons that had slept deeper, older than the rest, awoke. Red-scaled titans, green-winged serpents, even a massive white dragon whose body glowed like ice and lightning. Their roars joined the storm, shaking the Leviathan itself. The aliens panicked. "There are too many of them. They should not exist." The commander forced his crew to stay calm. "One ship is enough to end them. Focus fire on the riders. Kill the humans, the beast will scatter." And so began the fiercest clash. Dragons swarmed the fleet, their riders guiding them like extensions of their own souls. Plasma fire met living flame, steel met claw. Elias led the charge, diving, toward the Leviathan itself. His golden dragon twisted through its defenses, fire blazing along its armor. But the dreadnought was powerful. Its shields deflected flames. Its cannons blasted entire craters into the ground below. The black dragon, injured but still alive, rose again and slammed into one of its side batteries, tearing it off with burning claws. On the ground, survivors no longer just hid. They fought. Old weapons activated by dragonfire were handed to men and women, who shot at alien dropships. Children carried messages, supplies, even water to the riders. Humanity was not only surviving, they were rising. The alien commander watched in disbelief. They fight as if they are already dead. No fear, only fury. Elias and the golden dragon pierced through another wave of fighters, their combined roar echoing like thunder. His voice carried, through every comm, through every human ear. They thought we were weak. They thought we were finished. But we are more than flesh and blood. We are fire. We are dragons reborn. The survivors cheered, their voices merging with the roars of their guardians. The aliens, for the first time, felt something they had, never known in battle, doubt. And high above, the Leviathan prepared its main cannon for one final strike. Its glow lit the sky like the birth of a new star. If it fired, the colony and everything alive would vanish. The golden dragon's voice thundered in Elias's mind. This is it, their final blow. We end this, or humanity burns. Elias gripped his weapon, his heart pounding. He knew what must be done. Together, man and dragon dove toward the Leviathan's heart, into fire, into death itself, because there was no other choice. The battle for survival had become the battle for vengeance. The wrath of the awakened. The sky burned like the end of worlds. The alien Leviathan hovered above, its massive cannon glowing brighter with every second. If it fired everything, dragons, humans, even the mountains themselves, would be erased in an instant. On its back, hundreds of alien fighters circled like vultures, firing nonstop to keep the dragons away. The fleet roared with weapons, the ground shook with explosions, and for a moment, hope itself seemed fragile. Elias, riding the golden dragon, felt the heat of the Leviathan's weapon against his skin even from a distance. His voice trembled as he shouted to his people, To his allies, to every survivor who could hear, "If this cannon fires, we all die. There is no escape. We fight now, not tomorrow, not later, now." The golden dragon roared in agreement, flames bursting from its scales like a second sun. The other dragons, injured or exhausted, rose once more. The black dragon's torn wings still bled smoke, but it took to the air again. The silver dragon's light flickered, but it glowed bright enough to blind enemy sensors. Even the white dragon, massive and ancient, spread its icy wings and froze alien cruisers mid-flight. The bond between human and dragon had become unbreakable. They were no longer two, man and beast. They were one. The Leviathan's cannon reached its peak, a blinding core of power pulsing with energy enough to destroy worlds. The alien commander's voice thundered across comms, "Let this be the end of humanity." And the cannon fired. A beam of raw destruction, wide as a city street, shot toward the colony. The survivors screamed, children covered their eyes, and even the mountains trembled at the sight. But then the white dragon moved, its wings spread wide, its body glowing like frozen starlight. With a roar that shook the heavens, it unleashed a storm of ice and light directly into the beam. The collision shook the skies, freezing fire against fire, light against light. The ground cracked, the air itself screamed. The white dragon's body shattered under the force, but the beam broke in half, splitting the sky instead of striking the colony. The survivors cried out in shock and grief. The white dragon fell, its body blazing with ice and flame, crashing into the mountains below. But in its sacrifice, it had saved them all. Elias clenched his fists, fury burning hotter than fire. The golden dragon's voice thundered in his mind. "Now we end them." The dragon surged forward, every last one of them. Firestorms, lightning, shockwaves, they unleashed everything. Riders guided their weapons with perfect aim, striking weak points in enemy armor. Ships fell one after another, torn apart in burning pieces raining from the sky. Elias and the golden dragon went straight for the Leviathan's heart. Alien fighters swarmed them, but the golden beast twisted, tail slamming one ship, flames devouring another. Elias fired his lance into the last fighter, clearing the path. The Leviathan loomed above, its shields blazing. The golden dragon roared. Its scales glowed hotter than ever, brighter than the sun. Elias felt the heat burning his skin, but he did not let go. Together, they plunged straight into the Leviathan's core. Claws tore through steel. Flames melted alien armor. Explosions erupted across the ship as systems failed. Alarms screamed, but the dragon roared louder. Elias struck his weapon deep into the ship's glowing reactor. There was a blinding flash. The Leviathan erupted in a firestorm so massive that even orbiting moons glowed with its light. The explosion shook the entire star system, turning night into day for a single breathless moment. The survivors on the ground shielded their eyes, their screams turning into cheers. The alien fleet, seeing their most powerful warship destroyed, broke apart in panic. Some tried to fight, but most fled, scattering into the void like insects before a storm. The dragons circled above the colony, their roars echoing across the stars. They had not only defended humanity, they had declared war on any who dared to threaten them again. When the fire faded, Elias and the golden dragon descended slowly. They landed among the survivors, their bodies scarred, their strength nearly gone. The people rushed forward, tears in their eyes. A boy whispered, "They saved us." An old man shouted, "No, they fought with us." The little girl who had touched the dragon before stepped forward again. She placed her hand gently on the golden scale, her voice soft but steady. "Thank you." The dragon lowered its head, a deep rumble of warmth echoing from its chest. Above, the galaxy itself seemed to fall silent. Across alien comms, across frightened enemy fleets retreating to distant worlds, a single truth spread. The dragons had awakened, and with them, humanity was no longer weak, no longer alone. They were guarded by fire, by legend, by wrath itself. The message was clear. You attacked human colonies. You thought they would fall. Instead, you awakened their guardians. And now, The galaxy would remember the wrath of the awakened.